Although we all have one, when it comes to problems with our back passage, it's not something many of us like to talk about, but that needs to change.
No buts about it. Our reluctance to talk about our bowels is killing us. New Zealand has one of the highest bowel cancer rates in the world. In fact, it's the second highest cause of cancer death in New Zealand. But it doesn't need to be that way.
Bowel cancer is treatable and beatable if it's detected early enough.
For that to happen, we need to know what we're dealing with. The bowel, which is also known as the intestine, is part of our digestive system. We have the small bowel, which digests our food, and the large bowel, which includes the colon and rectum. This is where the waste is dealt with. It's a pretty hard-working system, and one we should pay attention to, especially if we think it's not working properly, like Kate Ellison did.
The very first time I remember thinking something was wrong was I had very severe abdominal pain, kind of centrally, right in the middle, right where the tummy button is, and that's not down the other end. So I thought, yes, stomach pain, that's not good. Went along to have a test. The GP ended up diagnosing food poisoning. And as time went by, the pain was persistent and it got worse and more intense. And I was getting it in the middle of the night. One night, I was in such agony, I had to call the ambulance and was admitted to the emergency department at Auckland Hospital. They did run a lot of tests, blood tests, urine samples, all sorts of things. But I was sent home with a diagnosis of urinary tract infection, which I personally didn't feel I'd had any symptoms for. I felt like exploding. After that, I rang my GP in quite a state, and she said, "You've got private health insurance. Book yourself in to get an ultrasound scan," which I did, and probably about 3 days later, they found the tumour, very clearly.
While Kate's symptoms included severe pain, this is not always the case. Other clues that something might not be quite right are changes in bowel habits, blood in your poo, unexplained tiredness, weight loss, and anemia.
I could not have imagined in my wildest dreams I would get cancer. No way. It was the furthest thing from my mind.
As a qualified dietitian, Kate followed a healthy diet and lifestyle. She didn't tick any of the boxes for risk factors, and yet there she was at the age of 34 with a devastating diagnosis.
Unfortunately, the incidence of bowel cancer in people under 50 is rising quickly, and for everybody that gets diagnosed with bowel cancer in New Zealand, 1 out of 10 is under 50, which is quite surprising.
Most bowel cancers start as benign fleshy growths called polyps that grow on the wall of the bowel. Some are a tiny raised area or bulge, some look like a grape on a stalk, and others take the form of many tiny bumps clustered together.
Benign polyps are common as we get older, but there's some types, like adenoma, that can become cancerous.
If these cancerous growths are detected early, these and portions of the bowel can be successfully removed. But if left undetected, the cancer can enter the wall of the bowel and travel through the bloodstream or lymph nodes to other organs in the body. That's why early detection is so important. Kate had surgery for stage 3 cancer a week after being diagnosed. She's been in remission for 5 years and is now cancer-free.
It's important that if people are feeling something is wrong, they go and they see a GP if they feel they don't get the tests they need, or they still don't feel they've had the investigations and they know in their gut, they have a gut feeling that something's wrong. Seek a second opinion. It's okay to do that. Go and talk to someone else.
For those between 60 to 74, a free national bowel screening program is being rolled out. But if you have any symptoms, don't sit on them. The bottom line with bowel cancer is, the sooner you know, the better the chance of beating it.